then I'll throw it up on YouTube afterwards, and you can see it, and you can basically follow along if you want. So if you get stuck, you can ask questions. I'll show it to you again, but I'm not going to show it to you 4 or 5 times over and over because that's going to ruin our video. So, but do ask questions if you got them along the way. I guarantee if you have a question, somebody else has the same question. So I'm probably not coming back to this PowerPoint. Is everybody good with that? Because literally this PowerPoint would step you through how to do it step by step. So let me just talk about it a little bit, and then we're going to get into Mastercam. Any questions this far? No. So check this out. So we're going to import in some geometry. Sound good? We're going to import in 2 pieces of geometry. What do you think that's going to be? We're going to do the part and the stock. So we're going to have that. We're not going to worry about soft jaw geometry. We're just going to do op1 and basically the op1 model and the op2 model. Fair enough. So we can use op1 model as our stock, op2 model as basically to drive all the tool paths. So we'll do that. Then we set up our work coordinate system, by the way. We know where that is. We'll set that in the bottom corner. After we got our CAD and our work coordinate system, it's ready for CAM. So the CAM is going to be nothing more than face milling. So if you look, it's got all these different variables up here, like depth of cut, finish pass. So I might not follow these numbers exactly in today's video. It's going to work great. You could follow today's numbers in the video, or you could follow the numbers in the PowerPoint. Sound good? They'll work great. As for the speeds and feeds for this project, where do we get the speeds and feeds? Yeah, you calculate them, but the CAM's going to calculate it. But where do I get the values? Louder. Oh, the sheet I just gave you. So the Project 2 handout right here has all of the surface speeds and the chip loads we're going to run for this project. So there's no guessing on what surface speed and chip load to put in. You got to run these. Fair enough. So we don't have to worry about, is the tool going to survive if for the speed and feed we gave it. We got to make sure we're good on the programming. So speeds and feeds come off of here. Also, let's look at this document, this CNC Project 2. Do you see where it says face off extra material, rough upper keyway pocket? Those are going to be all tool paths we're going to create. Fair enough. We're going to create those together. And you see we've got T1, T4, T2, T5, T3, and T6. Those are the tools we're going to use for those different tool paths. We're not going to deviate from that. We're learning. Sound good? So you can deviate on your own parts later on. Now, with that in mind, I'm going to jump away from my PowerPoint. Then I'm not coming back to PowerPoint. And I'm going to jump into Mastercam now at this point. So let me move this up out of the way. If you remember last week, was it during the test review, right? That was 1 week and a day ago. We pretty much did op1. Do you remember that? I showed you how I introduced Mastercam, and I'm going to open that file. For you right now, I would open up my stock. Does that make sense? So you're going to open up your stock file, your op1. So I'm going to go file open. You're going to go file open as well. You're not going to pick a Mastercam file. What are you going to pick? You're going to pick a SolidWorks file. Do you agree? I'm going to pick a Mastercam file because I already brought in my SolidWorks file to my Mastercam file. So to do that, I'm going to go find that on my OneDrive. Is that week 5 we did that in? 2025 Mastercam demo, 4/30/2025. Is that right? Yeah, that was last Tuesday. It's already May. It's coming quick. So when I open this, that's going to be the same as you importing in. Oh, that's not the one. So let me go open. We'll go grab it here real quick. So we're going to grab, let's see here, in class, it was CNC Project 1 in class 2025. There we go. So we'll open that one instead. So now at this point, you don't have a toolpath group here. Don't worry about that. So you pretty much just have, let me just hide mine real quick so we can get up to the same speed. So this is what you have, correct? You have no toolpath group, but you have a card holder model. Is that correct? Well, next, what you've got to do is we need to go ahead and import the model we're going to machine now. So we imported our stock. We're going to put the model we machine on another level. Does that sound good? You can do it when you import it, but I like to set up the levels at this point right now. So I go to level, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to number 2. Just type a 2 down there. And I'm going to call this my model. Then I'm going to click back on 1. And what do you think I'm going to name 1? Stock. So I've got a stock level and a model level so far. If I was to hide stock, you're going to see there's nothing on my model layer. You see that, or level? I can show it back there. This one right here shows why. So it imports in other wireframe, the hidden entities. You see that? You don't really need that level. If for some reason, this is like a new thing on 2024 and on, started bringing in like the center marks. You see how you have like the little white center marks and everything? You don't really need that. So that level technically could be deleted. It's up to you. I could basically right click. Can you delete? Can you clear it? We don't even need to worry about it, but I think you can actually hit delete right there. It deletes all the entities, and you can right click and you can clear empty level, select it, and it would be gone. You don't have to do that though. It was kind of annoying for me to have a level I didn't need. So I got rid of the level I didn't need. You need basically 2 levels here now. You need 1, which is your stock, and then 1 that's your model. I'm going to pause for a second for you to take questions. What do you got? Yes.
So you imported the raw stock, importing the model on top of the stock, would that same as just open file?
It's not going to be an open. I'm going to show you that next. So in order to bring in the same part into the same file, it's called merge. So that actually brings Josh's question. Here we're going to go file. So before I do that, I'm going to press escape. I want to make my model level active. Does that make sense? So the stock level right now just shows stock, turn it on and off, but the model has nothing in it, no entities. We want to add the solid model to the model level. You good? So I go file. If I was just to open, it would open a whole brand new file. If I want to make 2 models in 1 file, it's called merge. Does everybody see that? So we're going to merge now the 2 models together in 1 Mastercam file. Is that making sense? So when I hit merge, I go pick my file now. It's going to open up a file menu, and it's going to say, what file do you want? I'm going to go and pick SolidWorks. And it's Project 2 student blank. Fair enough. When I press open, it's super slow today. I should have brought my battery or my charger. What I can do right here is I can actually set up a different level. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to hit it. I'm going to click active level. So I'm just going to put it on my own level, the active level. Fair enough. I'm not going to merge the files on the same level because I want to be able to show and hide. Does that make sense? So I basically pick active level. And what I do, give it a second. I hit check mark. Now check this out. I have my stock on one of them. I have my, oops. Let me move my zoom. View and fit. It's going to be your best friend. View fit. I'm going to zoom in down here. If you look, I have some, when you go to zoom fit, check this out. This is something. Do you see how I have these points out here in space? Do I need those? Now that's an arc from the engraving. So I'm going to delete that one. I'm going to click on that, delete that. So when I hit zoom fit, it fits it a little bit better in my view. You see that? All these are center point arcs from the shield from the Cal Poly logo. Pretty crazy, right? So all I'm doing is deleting those white pieces. So when I hit zoom fit, I can get my model. Oh, they're over here. See them over there? You might have to clean that up a little bit with zoom fit. There we go. Now zoom fit's starting to make sense. You see that? And technically, you don't need any of these layers right here that I brought in. It brought in all of our sketches. There's a button, I guarantee that I'm not clicking, that wouldn't bring those in. But I don't need any of that. Does that make sense, everybody? In fact, I'm going to actually bring in a whole nother model because my model is off. Yours is I have one with a ramp. Fair enough. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to click on that entity. I'm going to hit delete, and it deleted everything on that entire level. Control Z would be your friend if you didn't mean to do that. Now, if I go file merge, bless you. I'm gonna go grab, I have my model up in week 1 that actually is finished. So let me go back up there, 335 week 1. Open. So this is probably going to be a better looking model. So when I hit check mark, now I have my ramp and I have everything else. Is everybody good? I just didn't have my ramp. I needed that. You go with this? So I'm going to hit zoom fit again, and it brings me out here these large plus pieces. I'm just going to go ahead and delete them real quick. The little plus or the center marks, plus pieces, whatever. I'm going to hit fit one more time. Take those out. When we import it, we got to look for a little button that says it's grabbing all the sketch entities. So I think there's something that it didn't used to do that. And then these two down here, delete. So when I hit fit, we're good to go. What questions do you have up to this point? Yes.
What if your model and stock aren't like oriented?
If they're not oriented the same, keep going for right now. I'll orient your stock with you later. What it's going to be, I'm going to show you how to do it real quick. Sound good? And we'll go from there. So press escape. I'll fit. Let me go to my view real quick. So on my view, I'm going to do outline. One second. I deleted my solid. So let me go here one more time. Delete. File merge. I'm going to find that button actually. Project 2, open. Set to main color. You'd think there would be a. So there's my model and there's my stock. Do you have any questions at this point? No? So what's the next step once we brought in all of our geometry? Anybody? What do we have to set once we bring in geometry? Correct. So we have machine datums on this part. Where are we going to set the work coordinate system? Do you remember? So bottom, right? So the Z is on the bottom. And when you say left, like this wall or this edge, right? And then the top right here, right? So we got to come out here in space where there's nothing. See that? Where we could put a point there in space. That's easy. Put a point. Or I can use my planes menu. And if you remember, where was this G54 off of? If you look, that G54, if I go to my level and turn on my stock, that G54 was off the other corner, right? Does everybody agree? So we have to move one over down to this corner with the Z pointing up. You good with that? And we're going to call it G55 because we're going to run 54 for first op and 55 for second op. You good with that? So we could, if you mess up, we could run one in the one vice, run another op one, then run an op two. Happens. So to make a G55, what's important is my Z is pointing up correctly. So I'm going to go to my levels and just hide my stock. I only need to see my model. And I just delete those. Those cross lines bother me. It even imported in the plane. You see that? But anyways. Okay, so when we're back over here in planes, if I was to go off the top, would that be the right plane? No. How about the front? No. How about the back? No. Bottom. Well, bottom's looking good, isn't it? It's just not in the right location. Do you agree with that? So we're just going to duplicate that one and shift it to where it needs to go. Is everybody good with bottom? You see how that works? So we're going to take it. we can't duplicate the world. We got to duplicate it and then move it. We can't move the world. That's what I'm getting at. So what we're going to do is we're going to right click and duplicate. And when I duplicate, before I move it, I'm going to call it G55 WCS. I'm going to op number 2. Fair enough, because we got op 1 from the previous one. That was the demo, and then op 2. If you want, try to run op 1 in it. You're more than welcome to. I'd run the other part, though. It's a little bit more hard. 2 people have ran it now. And that worked. Anybody else going to run it? You got till pretty much next week. So do you remember how to move this, everybody? I could hit this button, right? And I could, if there was a point, click it into that point right there, but there's not, is there? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put it on this corner and I'm going to shift it to where it needs to go. Does that make sense? The Y, if I add the 1875 to this, I get 1.125. Do you agree? Yes. I'll show you that. Let me show you. Let me press that clear. So I cleared it, right? So what you do is you hit this button that allows you to move it around. It's a little arrow. And then I'm going to lock it into the corner right there. And it says associate plane origin to new geometry. Sure. But that's not quite where I want it, is it? The X is perfect, isn't it? Does everybody agree? The X is good because it's on the edge. The Y isn't good, is it? It needs to shift the radius value up, doesn't it? So if you wanted to add, you could do math in here. You could do plus 0.1875, or you could do 1.125 because it's the same answer. Whoops. After you delete it. So when I move it up there, I'm good so far, right? But on the part, where was the Z height? Is that at the bottom of it? No, right? Because there's a chamfer. Do you agree? What was the chamfer size that we were trying to make? 25 thou. So if it's 25 thou higher than it needs to be. Do you agree? So what would I do down here to the 715? What do I make it? 740. That's the thickness of the stock too, right? Or the stock. So when I go ahead, I hit tab, I'm now, when I press F9, when I press F9, it didn't make that home location shift. Why not? Anybody know? It put it on my op 1 one. So when I press F9, it toggles it on and off where it's set. Why is my green over an op 1 and it's not an op 2? Does anybody remember this? What did I have to do up here in order to make it so I program off of it?
Like the work coordinates.
Yeah, so right now, the WCS, you see that is off op 1, which was up here off that stock. So we want to be programming off op 2 from now on. Do you agree? So if I go equal right here, you can click on it or you can push the equals button. I would just hit the equals button and that now shifted everything right here and right there. So if you're writing notes, you import in your stock, you import in your model, you set the work coordinate system. That's all you do. That's all I've done. So I've imported the models on their own levels so I can hide them and show them if I need to. And then I basically have my XY, can barely hear me, my XYZ0 right there. And we're good to go. We're ready to program. What can I show you again right now or do anything for you? Don't worry if the stock's not shifted. Just get the XYZ right on the part. So the Y is actually in the middle of the part. So it's half the part width, 1.125. Because the world is right here. Does everybody see that in the gray? So the world is in the gray, the green is what we're programming off. So it's shifted it from the gray to the green with these numbers. You good? Any other questions? We're good? All over here, we're good? Over back there, we're good? Okay. So at this point, we're good. At this point, I am done with the planes. That's all I do in here is set my work coordinate system where I want it. Good. So I'm going to go to toolpaths next. And in toolpaths, I have op 1 right there that we did together. How do I get another setup? Does anybody remember that? I got to tell it the type of machine I've got. So does everybody see the tab at the top that says machine? What we're going to be doing is we're going to be picking a post processor now. We're going to be picking the type of machine we're using, and it's a post processor for it. So what are we using? The wire EDM, right? Josh says yes, so we're going to pick it. So we're going to go to mill. We're going to go to manage list. We're going to go, which one do we not pick? We don't pick the MM. Fair enough. It's metric. So we add it over here. We hit check mark. And now we're able to pick the mill default post. Do you have any questions on that? So what that does is it sets up now a CNC operation to make toolpaths under. We good? I would like to label mine, instead of it saying machine group 1, I'm going to call it CNC op 2. So I can right click on the machine group, go to group and rename. I'm going to call this card holder op number 2. Make sense, right? You got any questions? Doing okay? Perfect. So now, what should I do before I make toolpaths so I can see if they gouge my part or if they even cut my part? What should I add now, do you think? Stock, virtual stock. So once I've set up a toolpath group, I got to put virtual stock in it to simulate. What do we need showing in order to add stock? Our stock. We have a stock model, right? So check this out. How do I show my stock model? Do you remember that? I go over here. The zoom controls are in the way. I go over here to my levels. I make the stock active and I hide the model. You good with that? And while I'm waiting here for a second or two, I'm going to delete these. These are annoying. Yours all imported with that too? Everybody? You got all the lines? Yeah. It started doing that on the last version. Didn't used to do that. It's just bringing the model. It's kind of annoying. Yeah. I only made one machine group. I did that one last week. We're only doing op 2. You're not doing op 1. You already did op 1. You wrote it by hand. We're doing the hard one in the cam. Op 1 was easy. So check this out now. You want to double check that your stock is at the green home location. If you press F9, right? Does everybody see how the bottom of the stock is good and then it's on the Z and on the corner? We're good? Yeah.
What if it isn't?
Well, then you'll have to go over your planes at some point and move it to the right location. So if it's like over here when I hit equal, that's because it's got an up and op 1. So I go over here, I press equal, and we're good. It's probably your stock is out of position. We can move your stock later. I'm going to show you this. I'm not going to move my stock though, real quick. So it's all about basically, where is it? Transform. I can rotate, translate, move. You're going to just move your stock later on. For right now, if your stock is not lined up, your simulation is just not going to simulate it perfect. You can still make all the tool paths and do everything. The simulations is going to look messed up. The stock is only there for simulation. Do you have any questions? Are we good over here? We're good? You guys are all good? All right. Well, then when I go back to tool paths, the stock is actually underneath these properties right here. So I click on stock setup. I did click on it. My computer's super slow for some reason. And this time I have add from selection. I only have one model on my screen, right? Because I hid the other one. So if I click it, I click it. That's so easy. And I press in selection. Now, I would put it on the G55 WCS op 2. Hold on, and then click it. Click. Let me press X real quick. I forgot to tell you something. So click out of that. We're going to reset it up. So you want to put it I'm going to put it back on the top. If you had top and you click, just keep it there. Fair enough. Normally you go ahead and you pick your G55 plane and then click it. So you click there and then click the stock, but I had already messed that up. I've already added stock and is already used making a selection. Fair enough. Cause I've already used it. I can delete it up here. Remove G55. Boom, boom. So now what I have to do is I would have to sit there and move it around. So I would keep it on your top. Fair enough. Just keep it on top where it's at. We don't want to have to move it. That's how you can move it too. If that makes sense, you can move it there virtually, never having them. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to go to machine, actually tool paths, and show you how to display the stock and shade it now. So once you've added stock, you can go to your tool paths and you can show it and hide it. What I don't want now, though, is my stock model up there anymore. So I'm going to go to levels. I'm going to show my model. I'm going to hide my stock because I just want my model. Is everybody good with that? No. So I have some geometry on mine that I don't want. I'm going to show you how to create it. I'm just going to get rid of it. This is just extra stuff I don't want. So I will Google how to import it in, or unless you want to do it and tell me on how to import it in without all these marks. It's kind of ridiculous now. So the first toolpath we do, we've got to select the top of the raw material. Do you agree? Would I be able to do that with this model? Which model do I need for the face mill toolpath showing? My part one, because it's got the rectangle on the outside, right? I can draw a rectangle exactly where it is, or I can just use the model. Using the model will be way easier. So I'm going to turn on both models right now on top of each other to create the first toolpath. The reason is I need that big rectangle right there. Are you ready to do toolpaths with me? Do we have any questions? Go ahead. So you should probably just, if they're not lined up, don't have your stock visible for right now. And you're going to pick the bottom of the model. I'll show you what to pick instead. Sound good? You can pick the base. It's just a little bit off. But then when you get your stock merged in, you can reselect the geometry. I can show you how to do that. I'm going to show it to you both ways. So I'm going to show you the right way, and then I'll show you if you don't have, well, actually, I'll show you what to pick if you don't have the stock first. So what I'm going to do, let me press F9 to get rid of those lines. I'm going to get rid of that. I'm going to fit it one more time. So I'm going to go back to view and fit. I'm going to get rid of those center marks. Go back to fit one more time, get rid of those. Delete, fit once more, get rid of that one. Okay, now we're doing good. So what I want to do is I'm going to go back to tool paths. I'm going to go to tool paths here. I'm going to go to face. Everybody good? Now, I don't have wireframe geometry. So if I basically click on the wireframe, I won't be able to click on anything but all those little marks. You see that? I can click on those. That's about it. Ooh, they brought in some wireframe on that one. It's a sketch from SolidWorks. But I want to go ahead. I want to pick solid models. And if you don't have this stock lined up, you're going to click off face. You're going to click off that loop. And you're going to just go single edges. You're going to pick the bottom You're going to pick the bottom outside like this. So everybody who doesn't have the stock lined up, that's what you're going to show it for now. It's close enough that it's not going to hurt the part. It'll lead in off that lip. Does that make sense to y'all? You'd pick the bottom of your model to face. I'm not going to do that. I'm going to press the Ghostbuster symbol and press escape one more time and not keep the tool path. I'm going to hit face. And I'm going to pick basically a solid. I'm going to basically pick a loop, not a face. And I'm going to loop that surface right there. That's the real one to pick, right? It's the fit. We want to cut that off. You doing all right? So when we select that geometry, we hit check mark. So remember, you pick your tool path, you pick the driving geometry, then you set up your tool and all the different variables for it. So this first tool path is facing, the geometry has already been selected for me. I'm good on this tab. Is everybody good there? The next one's tool. I've got to build a tool. I'm going to build all the tools here. We're going to build 6 tools together. So we're going to right click and we're going to basically create a tool. What type of tool is it, you say? It's a face mill. I look at my sheet, T1, H1, 3-inch carbide insert face mill, 4 flute. It's got the 3250 and we're going to run a 2 thou chip load on it this time. We're going to run the small value. So when I hit next, what's important is the diameter, 3, the cutting length, that's how deep it can cut before it gives you a warning. And it has a 0-degree chamfer because it's square. So 3-inch diameter, 0-degree chamfer angle is what's important. We're not going to set it deeper than the 1/4 inch, so we're good. We don't have that much material. So when I hit next, it's tool number 1. Y'all agree? Then in the surface speed, we write 3250. And the feed per tooth is 2 thou. It's a 4 flute. Let's run 3 thou. 2 or 3 thou, we're fine. We ran 6 on the last one. You could run 3 thou. So everybody, so what do I do when I see 49.6? What does Treon do? 50. Perfect. Plunge rate's half. We're good to go. You can fill out the name if you wanted, but that'll fill out in the post. I just hit finish at this point, and that's all you do on this page is set your tool with your feeds and speeds. So one thing that you always want checked is rapid retract, so it pulls out as fast as possible. That might not be checked by default. We doing good? So we got 3-inch diameter, tool 1. We got our feeds and speeds right here. That's what they're actually going to run when you post process. Are you all right? Can I show you anything on this tool page again?
It's cool. It's tool page.
Coolant is not on this tool page. It's actually on its own tab. It says coolant. I can't see it. It's right here. Coolant. We got to turn that one on. We'll do that last because it's the last tab. So the next one's holder. Did I care about holder ever? No. So I'm not even going to use holder. Sound good? I'm going to skip it and just use the default that they got. It's basically a dummy solid. So when you're simulating, you make sure your holder doesn't run into stuff. Our holder's above our tool. We're not going to run anything in 3-axis stuff. Multi-axis maybe. So now cut parameters. We're going to learn how to not go like, we're going to learn some stuff about cutting next week in lecture. And for right now, we're going to do 1 pass, but you might switch it to dynamic after I teach you a few things. We'll do 1 pass though for now. Am I leaving any stock on the floors? No, so put a 0 there. It just leaves it by default. Do you have any questions about this page? You can have it overlap different. You can have it approach at a different value and exit. These are just where it basically starts and stops off the part. What it does is it does a great job by default. So we're going to click on depths of cut now. Should we just cut this 140 in 1 and call it good? Or should we maybe do a finish pass? What's this? Finish pass. So I'm going to hit depths of cut. I'm going to do 130. Whoops, 1.3. 0.13. Don't fat finger numbers. Now I'm going to do 1.01 finish pass. Does that make sense? So 130 down, does another 10 thou to 140. You doing okay? Well, my linking is where all the action happens. This is the dangerous page. It's the Z values. That's why I can pick the bottom surface of the part to drive the tool path and still have it like stop at other places, right? So I want you to just do it all in absolute. I feel it is safer that way for this project. So with that, I'm going to do absolute. I'm just going to change it real quick and absolute. If I want to be 100 thou off the top of my stock, what do I put in here for absolute? Yep, 0.84. Good job. If I want, that's where I reach. That's actually where I pull out to. It's retract. So G00, when I'm done cutting, it goes 0.84 above the Z0. Now feed is where it rapids down to before it drops down to feed down into the depth of cut. So what am I going to put there? 0.84. You know what? Every single tool path in this entire project runs 0.84 for the retract and the feed plans. We're going to keep them all the same. Is everybody good? That way you don't have to think about it. Absolute, we're 100 thou above the raw stock. When we take off the stock, we'll be 140, we'll be 240 thou above it, but who cares? We're safe. So now this is where the magic happens. It starts at 0.74 absolute, and the depth is 0.6 because that's the top, that's the height of the card holder. It's off the drawing, right? Does that make sense to y'all? You good? Questions on this menu? We're going to use that clearance one when we go to engrand later. That's pretty cool. So now, when I double check here, these are double checks. I go to my planes. I make sure it's G55. It's what I set at the right location. If the Z is not pointing up, it's not going to make a tool path too. The last page is coolant. So we go to coolant. We turn that to on, or you'll be hitting the coolant button a bunch while you're running it. Works for me. So when I hit check mark, boom, there's a tool path. There's 2 blue lines and 1 yellow. So the blue lines are cutting, yellow's rapid, fair enough. And what it does, I'm going to go to my level real quick. I'm going to turn off my stock and just look at my model. How I know I've done this right is my Z ends right at the top of my model surface. You see that? Does that make sense? So there's got to be a way we can visually simulate this, right? There's 2 ways. So the first way is under tool paths. If we go to facing, we hit backplot, it'll do it directly in the Mastercam window right here. So when it does that, it brings out the tool. You can show things, you can show lines. My computer's super slow. There's something up with it. Machines a little bit. There's this roughing pass. Then it pulls back up, rapids back over, and does its 10 thou finish pass afterwards. Are you good with it so far? Now, this one, you don't need stock to simulate. The other one simulates with the stock you set up. So if your stock was crooked, like Daniel's back there, I just know it was because you asked. so a lot of other people are crooked. So what we're going to do there is we're going to simulate it using the virtual simulation right here, the verify. When I do verify, it brings a whole nother window up and shows you it in a kind of virtual machining environment. So there. Out of water. Probably could have made it there and back. There it is. So this is where if you had your stock set up funny, it's probably sideways in here. It's going to face melt through it all funny, and it is what it is. So when I press play here, yeah, my computer's slow, but look, it's looking great. I got a puck full of material, right? 600 thou high, my name here. We're good. Cool. So let me move my zoom control out of the way, or move my window. What questions do you have at this point? Can I answer anything for you? Show it to you? Yeah. Yes, definitely. Let me show you this, sir. Check this out. We got geometry right here. The geometry, if I click on it, and I go here, it was up here off the Op1 model, right? Well, I don't need that geometry. I could right click. I could delete. Now I have no geometry. Do you agree? It's empty. Delete it again. It's gone completely. So I could right click, I could add. So if I didn't have Op1 model up there, what I could do is I could just pick this bottom. I could just pick plane. Boom. It's done. And now I hit check mark. Everything was absolute, wasn't it? So it should just make the toolpath perfect because it's all based off absolute. So when I hit check mark there, I hit regenerate the dirty tool path. Boom, there it is. Look at that. So it's literally that it's probably missing like 100 thou lead in, lead out because of the lip of that stock. But other than that, it's same thing. Does that make sense? So I had to show it the overall size of the stock. I know I'm missing a little bit on that exact spec. The real way would be to show it the true stock size. They'll work both ways. Other questions? Good. We're good. Okay. Now that tool path's in my way, isn't it? So what can I do in order to make it not in my way? Yeah, a little wave symbol hides it. Cool. The next thing we're going to do is if you look at your handout, right, we got before class started, we've got the rough upper QA pocket with tool 4. Does everybody see how we have a vertical wall right here? We're just going to mill all that. I call that the QA pocket. We're going to mill all of that. So we have the vertical wall. Then we'll send in the basically a 3/4 inch cutter and ramp it, kind of like your card holder homework. So to do that, I've got to go ahead and pick what type of tool path next. Yeah, we're going to pocket. So we're going to pocket. We are going to pocket using the solid model, and we are not going to pick the faces. We are going to pick edges. Sound good? And when we pick the edge, what edge should I pick? This upper one or this lower one? Lower one, because it's the geometry of the pocket. So if I click that, it wants to keep going around. I just come right over here and boop, boop, boop. It's getting there. There we go. So that's your geometry for your keyway pocket. You doing okay? Well, with that, I'm going to hit check mark. So we're going to pocket all this out. Anybody got a USB-C charger or a laptop? I think it'd be a good idea. Can I borrow it? Because this thing's like super slow. I'm guessing it's something to do with that, although it shouldn't have that. Oh, we got one right here. We're good. Cool. Thank you very much. If you need it, just let me know. I just want to pop some power into it. I'm guessing maybe on the battery. Thank you. So at this point, do I do anything on this page? No, because I've already selected the type of tool path and the geometry. So I go to tool. I definitely need a new tool. I can't pocket with that non-center cutting face mill. It'd be a bad day. So we're going to go create tool. For the mill, it'd be a bad day. And we're going to go flat end mill. We're going to go to next. So we're building tool 4 now. Tool 4 happens to be a 1/2 inch. I don't do anything on this page. We're good to go. It's the only time you're not going to do anything. It's one tool. We're going to go to next. It's going to be tool 4. Don't go up in order. Don't go to 2. Some people do that. It's 4. And it's going to run a surface speed of 750, which runs 5,700 RPM. It's a 3 flute. And it runs a chip load of 3 thou. Oh, no, wait, 4 thou. So when I see 68.76, I'm going to do 68. I'm going to do 70. We're going to do 70. Sound good? Nice even number. What do I do with my plunge rate, though? This is something that's important on this. We're going down into material. What's the plunge rate? 1/2. So we're going to do 35. Sound good? For now. So we got the tool, the speeds and feeds all figured out. We hit finish. We're ready to use this tool. Rapid retract is not clicked. Click on rapid retract just so it pulls out faster. Saves you time and money. So when we go to the holder, do we care? No. In fact, I'll get a funny one. I like getting funny ones. There we go. Okay. We'll get a long one. All right, I'll just stop there. So then on cut parameters, we are leaving stock on the walls. We're going to come back and finish the walls with a different tool path because this tool can't make this right size radius to finish the walls. It's bigger, right? It makes a 1/4 inch radius. And our radius on the walls are 1875 or 188. So I'm going to leave 10 thou on the walls. I'm not going to leave any on the floor because we're not at the floor at this point. We're only on the walls, right? We're in the middle of the pocket. Yeah.
Will your tool path try to make that radius cut material? If you, like,
It won't overcut it. It'll just stop, and it'll leave a big radius.
okay, so like just
It stops at the lines, the boundary line. So it's just going to leave too big of a
Okay,
radius.
so then just like
It's going to do a hard stop.
so no matter what you're usually just fine, like 10 thou, like 5.
10 thou, 20 thou, whatever. Yeah. Yeah. So now, does everybody understand that? So we left 10 thou on the walls because we're basically going to come back and clean it up. 3/4 is going to clean up this ramp, and then the 3/16 to clean up those little fillets in the walls later. So when I go to roughing, this is where you can pick your favorite roughing tool path. I think I'm going to do screw spiral. I think I'm going to spiral. No, I'm going to do high speed. You're going to learn why 50% is bad next week. It shocks the tool. So 40 or 60 sound good. I'm going to do 40%. That's 40% of the diameter of 0.2 step over. These two are linked. Got any questions on this page? It all pretty much when you look at it, it's pretty self-explanatory, right? When I go to an entry motion, it's important to do a helix to enter. The thing is, it makes these giant helix. You see this maximum and minimum are 1/2 inch to 0.25. I would make this more like 0.25 to 0.125. So it makes a smaller corkscrew in. Now, when it enters by default, Mastercam is trying to make you productive and enter at the feed rate. What should we enter at when we're doing the corkscrew? Yeah, change this one to plunge rate. Sound good? So it does the corkscrew at 35. When it hits the bottom, then it takes off at 70. So plunge rate right there. Other than that, that's all we do on this page. We set our drop down into the pocket. Now, are we going to finish on the walls? No, we're leaving stock. Unclick it. Make sense? We're not finishing. It comes back and does a contour on the walls if you wanted to finish the pocket. Are we going to do depths of cut? No, it's 100 thou. That's nothing. Are we going to do linking? Yeah. We're going to do linking in all absolute. And our retract was 0.84, if you remember, right? That means our feed plane was 0.84. You good with that? Where's the top of the stock this time? Let's say I didn't know it was 0.6. I can click that button, zoom on in, and click that mouse. It's 0.6. We're good. It's a 100 thou depth if you remember your drawing, right? So this another number right here is 0.5 because it's absolute. If it was incremental, it'd be negative 0.1, right? So now, yes. It leaves it kind of from the last time you used it. It's weird. I know what you mean. I don't know why. It's the defaults for when they installed the software. But like now that we've done a pocket, it'll stay like all that for the pocket from now on. It's weird. So next, do I have to do anything to my planes, everybody? Just verify they're right? They're good. Do I have to do anything to my coolant? Turn it on. That's all you got to do, just on. Just post an MO8. That's it. So when we hit check mark, it does a little corkscrew down and it does a pocket now. This is exactly what we want right there. The purple are the high-speed links into the next path, the next step over. It rolls into the next step over, their lead ins. Does that make sense? We got to be able to see this, simulate, right? So if I click on my entire toolpath group, if they're double checked, I hit right here, verify. I press play and stuff happens really quick. But, oh, that's a sweet tool holder. So check this out. You see it left stock. We got that little keyway pocket ready to go. We now want to go ahead and rough out the bigger section of the material. You doing okay? You need to see something again right now. No? All right. So then when I come out here, I'm going to hide this toolpath by clicking on pocket and hide it. The next toolpath, I'm basically going to stay in here with this. Fair enough. So I'm going to use the geometry in the bottom of the pocket to cut out all this material down here to the final depth. So I do that by going to pocket. I come down in here. I'm going to pick that line first, and I'm going to work myself around. Everybody see that? We're going to keep the tool in that pocket now. Doing okay? There'll be the video if you get lost. Maybe just watch and then do the video later. That's a good idea. So when I hit check mark, my toolpath type is good. Did my tool change? Did my feeds and speeds change? No, I'm good here, right? That's great. Did my holder change? No. How about my cut parameters? No. I'm going to still leave 10 thou on the walls. You good with this? This is easy. How about roughing? Should I change 40% and true spiral? Nah. How about entry motion? Should I still do a helix down and do it at the plunge rate? Yeah. How about finishing? Am I finishing the walls? No. How about depths of cut? It's like a full slot with, we're going to do depths of cut. We got 0.35, don't we? Left. You remember from your drawing. So I click on depth of cut. I do 0.35 divided by 2, 175. Then I do 10 thou finish pass on the floor to go ahead and clean up the floor nice and shiny because we're never coming back to the middle of the floor. We're going to match all 3 tools on the floor. So this is going to finish pass in the center of the floor. We're still going to need to finish pass on the walls and the edges of the part. Doing okay? So right there, 175 thou down, 10 thou finish pass. I go to linking. It grabbed my depth this time off the geometry of the bottom. You see that? So really, all I got to change is my top of my stock is 0.5 now. That's 350 thou between the 2 numbers, right? This is making sense. This is easy. Gotta wake Brent up though. Just wake her up a little bit. It's not that boring. So we got it. So now, thank you. So now at this point, we're gonna go to planes. We're gonna double check our planes. And on coolant, what do we got to do? Oh, it's on because it was on for the last tool path. We only have to turn them on when they're not on the first time. You'd think by default they keep it on. Everybody uses coolant. so when I hit check mark, look what it did. It did another 2 passes down, right? It did the next step, the next step. Then if you look close, that's the finish pass, the little the 10 thou on the floor. You see that? So 3 passes down. You doing okay? So yeah. So I can use these little squiggly lines to hide them and show them. So I'm going to show them all. I'm going to click on this. I'm going to click on verify. I wouldn't do any other but verify. I wouldn't look at the other the simulation. It doesn't show you what you've actually cut. So when I press play now, it's done. Hey, it looks like the model I almost gave you last week. So we've got this. Does everybody see how the fillets aren't the right size? We left a little bit on the walls. We're going to ramp this next. But in order to ramp this, we're going to draw some geometry exactly where we want our cutter to go. Does that sound good? So you have a drawing you turned in this week. We're going to go to the drawing next to figure out our dimensions for our line. You ready for that? So if I go to the drawing, let me go find it real quick. That was last week's. I think I have a drawing packet in here. Hold on. If not, I'll go grab. I got it for week 1. Drawing packet. There it is. So check this out. We have to make this, right? This was a tangent edge thing, by the way. Tangent edges were removed on this one. You might show, we get that up there, right? So looking at this, I've got to go ahead and put the center of my end mill at this reference dimension. That's why it's there. Off the datum. See that? Does that make sense? So remember that number. Off of the datum, what's my Y value, everybody? Louder. Negative 1.125. Do you agree? And my X is 5.0625. Do you agree? My Z is 0.5 because I wanted to drop right there. You doing good? Then my other point is basically right here. I'm good to go. So what I would do, we got to draw a line in Mastercam. So we go to Mastercam. We're going to draw, there's nothing, we actually kind of have the line from the master. I'm going to delete, well, I'm going to delete that. Delete all those. Those are from the sweep, and that was a plane I just deleted. It was lines from a plane. So yours should look like this, and you should take off that. In fact, that's actually where we want to go, right on that center mark. But I'm going to delete it just because I don't like it. I'm going to show you how to draw it from scratch. Same with that. Delete. Does everybody understand we're coming right into the center of this line right here? So watch this. If I go to wireframe, I go to line endpoints. I don't want to actually put this on the level of the model. What I'm going to do is I'm going to go to 3. What am I going to name 3? Ramp. So I'm going to write ramp wireframe. You good with that? It's check mark, so I'm drawing on that level. I'm going to draw basically a ramp line and the lead out line for it to follow directly on the center of that line. So if I do line endpoints and I go from there to there, let me go hide this. I didn't draw it. Give me a second. I don't know why I didn't click my line. I don't know why I didn't hit the first time, but I drew a line. I want to go right to that midpoint. Do you agree? And I want to start up here in space based off the drawing. This is old school. This is how I did CAD when I was your age. I'd have to key in endpoints. So it says, do you see how it says specify the first endpoint? X, Y, Z. What was the X? 5.0625, comma. What was my Y? Comma. This is how I used to do CAD. What's the Z? 0.5, right? 10, 100 thou below the top surface. So when I hit check mark or enter, sorry, I didn't have lunch. So we got the line right in the center. Do you agree? Based off the drawing. And I drew that other one just to lock it in there. Way easier. So now I'm going to draw a lead out. Bloop. There we go. That looks like enough lead out for me. Yes. Right here. So what you do, you go back into Mastercam. Hold on, I have a verification window open. I don't like that. It slows the stuff down. So whenever I'm drawing in space, it's all based off of this construction geometry. See how the C is there? So it's based off this XYZ because the C is there. I'm pointing out more than you need to know. So when I go to wireframe here and I hit line endpoints, it says specify the first endpoint. You key it in 1, 1, 1, enter, and just put it out there in space at 1, 1, 1. So I can also snap to things if I want to. See that? It's kind of archaic drawing. This is back when I was your age. We had to do 3D. We would have to change the C plane and draw 2D on the different construction plane on the front, the right. And the Mastercam has never changed that. SolidWorks came along in 1998 and blew away the scene. And Mastercam never caught up 27 years later. That's the way it works. I'm telling you. So we don't need that line. Does that make sense? I just deleted that one out there. What line in here do we not need? Yeah, we don't really need that. I'm going to delete it so we don't accidentally pick it. In fact, I'm going to drive my whole next toolpath off of just that line right there in space to show you how this works. You ready for this? I could turn back on the model to show you where it's going to go with reference to the model, but I don't like to do that. You good on that? check this out. Tool paths, it's going to be a contour, everybody. So we're picking a contour. If you were cutting, would you go from the big thick section to the thin or thin to thick? I go thick to thin because you want to shear the chip thick at first, and then you want, it's like fine milling thick thin chips. So we're going to start at the bottom and work our way up and out. Sound good? It cuts with the back side of the tool the other way. We want to cut with the front leading edge of the tool. So we're going to go from the bottom. Where you pick is important. If you pick over here first, it's bad. You pick here. Bloop. We're done. Red, green, start, stop. You learned that at 16, maybe earlier. So when I hit check mark, that's the tool path. Is literally just the geometry going up the center. When I go to tool, I have to right click. I have to create a new tool, and I have to set up that flat end mill. That's the 3/4 inch. So when I hit next, it's 0.75. I don't change anything else there. Just change the diameter. When I go over here, it's tool 2. We got lucky. Its surface speed is going to run 1675. Everybody see that? 1675. And this is a plunge move, everybody. We are basically ramping down in the Z with, or ramping up in the Z with this. So we're going to run a real small chip load. We're going to run 1,000. We're just going to run a 1,000 chip load in case you got the wrong way or something like that. And it is a 3 flute. What does Treon do? 26. Good. So now, because this is the plunge move, 26 is my feed and my plunge. Fair enough. I don't need to have it anymore. I already did that. So when I hit finish, the key with following on the line is cutter compensation. So we've got computer. It offsets the cutter, the radius value from the line, just like you did in Op 1. We've got control. It posts a G41 or 42, and it programs it directly on the line. The control offsets it the radius value. Where it posts a G41 or 42, it offsets it like a traditional computer, but puts a 41 and 42 in there so you can adjust it a little bit with the wear value. You put a 0 in for the diameter in the control. Then off is what we want. We want to follow directly on the line. So what we're going to do is we're going to go to off, and we're good. That's all we do. It should say 3D here because we're moving in the Z. Making sense? So when I go to depths of cut, it's a good idea. I think my slides have 0.2. I would do 0.1. And then I would do 1 10th finish pass. You good with that? We do not want lead ins and lead outs on this line. It would be bad. We'd have arcs coming into the part. So we turn it off. We just unclick it. We don't want multi passes walking into the line. So we don't worry about it. We're not making tabs. We don't have a thin part we're going to kick out of the sheet metal afterwards. Yes.
I'm sorry, I missed what you did for cats.
Yeah, the depths of cut, I did 100 thou and 1 10th finish pass. So now under linking, it's gonna have incremental here. They're gonna be incremental because it's moving 3D. What I want you to do is I want you to do incremental. I want you to do 0.3 right there. Because the depth of that pocket's about 0.35. It's actually 0.35, right? Because we cut it. And then your incremental here, we're going to do 0.75 or just put 0.84, put absolute. We're going to make all the retracts absolute 0.84 and all the. See, these are where the slides might differ a little bit, but it'll still make great parts. So do you have any questions on this? It's going to take the 0 and this value and split up the depths of cut between them. So we should be doing 3 or 4 passes. So when I go to planes, I'm just double checking. I'm still good. I didn't go over there and press C and T and WCS on another plane by accident. And I go to coolant, turn it on. It's the first time we've used contour. So when I hit check mark, look at that. I made some tool paths out in the middle of space. But if I press F9, all those tool paths are based off that work coordinate system where my model's set up there in space. You see that? But we drove it off of a wireframe that we drew. Cool. Showing you different ways to do stuff. You got any questions so far on that one? We got to see it to make sure it works, right? So we'll go to toolpaths. I was just wondering why it gave me a warning. Doesn't like your charger, but it's charging. I don't know. It's got like a caution symbol. So when I hit that, it's charging. So I don't care. It's probably because it's like too much juice or something. Not enough juice. So everybody see our model there? We look great, don't we? What do I got left? These walls are the wrong size, right? And this radius. And this thing's sharp. Someone's going to cut themselves on it. And it doesn't say my name yet. So we got a couple of things left to do. So to do that, can I show you anything right now? You're good? Let's program it some more then. Let's hide everything, show it, hide it, and F9 to get rid of those, the axes. These are really annoying me still. So I'm going to slowly delete them as I work through this file. There's a lot of them up here for the San Luis. Look at that. Okay, I'm stopping. All right, so the next tool path, what is it? Tell me. Yeah, we're going to contour the pocket sides and finish them out because we finished the ramp and the floor. We just need to finish the sides, and we picked the same geometry we did for the pocket, but we're contouring this time. So when I go to tool paths, I go to contour. I'm going to use the solid model selection. I'm going to take it off of face, off of loop, just go single. I like to just do it this way. Pick it other ways if you want. Good. So that's the profile that we're going to contour. When I hit check mark, a contour cares about climb milling and the right side with arrows. How do I check that? I go back and look at my geometry real quick. I press check mark. I got contour. I'm good to go. Cool. So now I didn't show both arrows. Don't worry about it. Guess we're good. So now under tool, we're going to go ahead and load up that 3/16 end mill so we can interplate through the corner with a circle and make a nice radius in that corner. So a right click, we'll go to create tool. It's going to be a flat end mill. What matters on this page? 3 divided by 16, right? 1875. Does it for you. We'll leave that tool super long. Looks great. So again, the diameter matters and the cutting length matters. So when I come to next, that's tool 5. It's going to be a surface speed of 450 if you look at it, which gets it almost 10,000 RPM. We're almost out of spindle. And then a chip load of 2,000. It's a 3 flute. So when I see 55, 56, that's great. I like even numbers. So when we plunge with it, 26, 28, 27, whatever. So then when we hit finish, we're good to go. Do you have questions on that tool or you think you got that one? Almost got this programmed, right? So now with the cut parameters, we're gonna need, we know what happens here. I've had it happen like a few times. I forget to look at this when I'm proving yours out, when it says off. I don't look at simulations, I look at lines. And what happens when you turn putter comp off on this contour? Where does it go? Yeah, well, next to 187. So it's following the center of the tool now on the edge of the part. And it just took out all the entire wall of your part. It took out some of our soft jaw too. We're a little sad at you. We're going to point that out with everybody. And it just works all the way around. So don't do that. Put putter comp on for this one. Sound good? So you've got to go ahead and go to computer. Does that make sense, everybody? So if you follow on the line, it just takes out everything. It's off for the ramp. Cool. So we'll learn about this roll around corners later. I'll talk about that next week. We should probably roll around all on everything. but I'll talk about that later. So now we're not leaving stock on the floor of the walls. This is our finish pass. We are going to do depths of cut, but we're going to just do this in 2 passes. We're only taking 10th thou off. We're not going to do it in the full 0.45. We're going to do it in the 225, right? So we go 0.225. That's 0.45 divided by 2. And we're not doing a finishing pass on the bottom. So this is our finish pass. We're literally just bringing this in and contouring the walls. We want some lead in and lead out, so don't we? We don't want a dwell mark on our wall. So we're going to click those back on. And by default, Mastercam makes these huge. So I usually go 50 thou, a little bit smaller, right? So make it just like 50 thou. Make them small. Hit that button and it transfers it over. So with the linking, that's the last thing we've got to set now. We've got to set 0.84, 0.84, absolute for that. It's going to start now at 0.6 is the top of the stock. And 0.15 is the bottom of the stock. That's the 0.45 between. Do you agree? I could go press, hit Josh real quick. There we go. So we're going to go ahead and click on that. I know it's long. Bear with me. We're almost there. So we'll go there. Oh, and that went off incremental. We're going to go absolute. Absolute is 0.15. And then absolute is 0.6. Does that make sense? So we're going to go look at planes. We'll go make sure we're all good there. We'll go to coolant. Coolant should already be on from the last toolpath. When I hit check mark, it drops in 2 little arcs in. You see that? And it cleans up the fillets on the side. And the reason we picked that little tool is so we can interplay to make a radius in the corner. So we don't do a hard stop with that. Cool? So the last 2 tool paths are chamfer and engrave. They're easy. They're contour tool paths. So to do that, we'll do that, and then we'll have open lab time to work on Mastercam. Sound good? I was thinking about going back down to the lab tomorrow. We're going to go down to the lab tomorrow. I was thinking about doing it today. We're going to do it tomorrow at the end of the lecture. We're going to have a half lecture where we're going to do some capability analysis on our previous parts. And then we're going to go down and do the probes that we did yesterday and just kind of talk about that. So instead of doing it today in lab, I know you're kind of like burnt out from this already for the day. So to do chamfers, there is a chamfer toolpath. Back in my day, we didn't have it. And to be honest with you, the chamfer toolpath, where is it? It says it somewhere. So there's chamfer. Why don't I see it? There it is right there. Yep, I found it. So this toolpath is the exact same thing that the contour will. I'm going to show you that. Sound good? So I'm going to do contour. If I wanted to chamfer both inside and outside in one toolpath, I can do that. I just have to have 2 separate chains. So what I can do is I can pick that. Whoops. Previous. Pick that one. Then I hit in chain right here. Then I come over here and I'm picking the bottom line. You understand that, right? That's the real geometry. And I work it around. There we go. And I hit check mark. So just to show you my geometry, this one's got arrows. I don't know why the other contour didn't. But check this out. We're both climb cutting. Does everybody see that? Clockwise around the outside, counterclockwise around the inside. The arrows are pointing to the side you want the chamfer tool to drop in on, not the side with material. So I'm good there. You can you can flip them or reverse them. The tool is important. We got to grab a chamfer tool. So we're going to create tool. If you were to make a chamfer tool, what would you pick? Chamfer mill. And what matters is the diameter, 0.375, I think it is, right? Is that what it says? Yep, 3/8. That chamfer tool's had a hard life. So now it's 45 degrees and it's the tip diameter that matters. So we're going to put 35 thou tip diameter. So that's what the flat is on it. So when I go to next, I set up my feeds and speeds by simply looking at my sheet, right? And I see that I've got a 500 surface speed and a 3 thou chip load. So we do 500 here. And then 0.003. So I'm going to do 62. Fair enough. And then I'll just do 30 plunge. When I hit finish, I'm now ready to make it a chamfer tool path. So the only difference between contour and chamfer tool paths right here, 2D chamfer. The model chamfer only has the model chamfer, doesn't give you all the options. They made this, then they decided to make its own tool path to make it easier for people. But they left the old stuff for us old crabby people that we like to use the original stuff. So we're going to use this one. Sound good? The chamfer width was 10 thou. Do you agree? Off the drawing. And we're going to bottom offset it at least 25 thou. You don't want to do too much. So we'll do 25 thou and 10 right there. Now the secret with the chamfer is number one, take off depths of cut. Number two, make sure you got a good lead in and lead out. Number three, you don't give it a depth. You go incremental 0. It figures it out based off the geometry of the tool and that box that you put in there of the size of the chamfer. It figures out how to offset it and drop it down. So you got to just build your tool correctly. I do check the coolant's on. It is. So does everybody see we got 0 incremental when I hit check mark? It actually dropped it down lower than 0. You see that? Off the part, and it made the chamfer. I'm going to hide that one real quick and show it to you. So we got 2 chamfers, jumps over from the inside to the outside. So let's double check that this entire thing's ready for engraving through simulation. Then we'll engrave it and we'll call it a work day then, and I'll help you work on this. So what we're going to do in order to engrave, I'm going to simulate first. So to simulate, we highlight everything. Toolpath group, they're all checked. We hit verify, press play. You could slow it down there if you wanted to. We zoom in. It's all chamfered pretty. You see that? Look at that. It's got the chamfer on the inside. Everything looks great, except it's not engraved. So to engrave, we're going to put our geometry on its own level. So I'm going to show you how to do the manufacturing engineering and the Cal Poly. I'm not going to engrave your name here. Sound good? So in order to put this on its own level, what should I do? Someone said create a new level. Is that what you're going to say, Josh? Yeah, we're going to do wireframe. You're right, but on its own level. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to go to level. And I'm going to call this 4. Sound good? I'm going to call it engrave wireframe. You can really screw this up. I'm going to show you how to screw it up first. Sound good? Yeah. You're good? Yeah. Okay. Watch and then you can. So engrave wireframe has nothing on it. If I go over, basically, I'm going to stay here. If I go to wireframe, do you remember curve on all edges? Well, if I grabbed everything, just don't do this part. Don't do this. And I hit in selection. I hit check mark. I go hide everything except for engraved wireframe. I have 4,000 pieces of geometry and I got way more than I need because I got all these different levels here. You see all that? You do not want this. You do not want these vertical lines. You don't want 2 levels here. You want 1 plane at the 150 thou for your engraving, like a DXF. You can put a DXF right at that level of like the wolf. Does that make sense? On its own. So what I'm going to do is I don't want that. I'm going to click engrave wireframe. And I'm going to hit delete. It deleted it all. I'm going to show the model. I only want top level stuff. So when I do basically curve on all edges, I have to pick only the top surface, everybody. That's a top surface. That's a top surface. That's a top surface. Now, in manufacturing engineering, what else would I have to pick? The little A's, the islands, the A. That's it. So also, if I wanted the top level, I would pick the top surface and the O, the A, only top level. O B B P O. Could you imagine me with a trackpad trying to do this? So we hit in selections. And when I hit check mark, let me hide my model. Bloop. Let me hide my toolpaths too, because they're kind of annoying. So that's my wireframe engraving model. I don't want this. So I drag a window around and I hit delete. I don't want that line. Basically, I don't want the edges. I don't want to accidentally pick edges because I want to show you a quick way to do this. When it starts beeping, I'm gonna start looking, right? It has to highlight everything in order to get it. Do you understand why I'm doing this now? Check this out. I can do this all in one toolpath, one selection. So do you see I have my different Z levels now? They're in space. If I was to go back to my level and turn on my model, I have wireframe exactly where it needs to be in the Z height. Cool. So if you didn't have it fully engraved in your SolidWorks, you wanted to make this cool one, you could import DXFs and you can merge DXFs onto its own level and put it in the right height, and we're good to go. Scale it to the right size. So at this point, let's make a toolpath. So we go back to toolpaths. We go to toolpaths. We go to contour. The reason, oh, what did I forget? Oh, I'm gonna fix it real quick. Because I'm actually probably gonna make this. So we're gonna go to levels. We're gonna throw back on the model and get to learn by doing. So again, that's wireframe, curve on all edges. Bloop, bloop. Sound effects really help, especially like at 2 in the morning. We're working on stuff like this. You got that, you're good, gear. Check mark. So now I can, we good? Double check yourself that you don't have basically 2 lines. I see that I have a second line on this one for some reason. So everybody see that? That's not going to be a good thing in my case. So I'm going to escape. I don't know how I got the outside profile twice. I'm going to delete the bottom one. Just give me a second. It'll go quicker after this point. I would almost just delete those entities. This is what you don't want to have. I didn't think I did, but I guess I grabbed the bottom. If you just grab one of those bottom surfaces, it'll pick the bottom. That's what I did. We should be good except for right here. Bear with me. It'll probably happen to you. And the last but not least right here. Do you see what I mean by the double line though? Because we're going to send it incremental. And if we send it incremental and there's 2 lines, it's going to go down twice. It's not going to look good. Oops. Man, that's a lot of little line segments. Outline trace. Cool. Where at? Thank you. Thank you very much. Another couple. I think we're good. Oh. We'll see it. We'll see it on the toolpath and I'll delete it if I see it. But that's what you want, basically. One level geometry. So now when you go to do this toolpath, it's going to be a contour. Yes, Charles. No, I don't use the engrave toolpath fills in a pocket with a little engraver. So we're going to use contour. So it like pockets it with an engraver and like makes it takes a long time. It takes a long time. So if you're interested in that, I'll show you on the side. So with this, check this out. Window. What am I going to drag a window around? Everything. Boom. Sketch approximate start point. I want everybody starting on the top. So I picked the top corner right there. Look at that. 79 entities. Imagine clicking all those lines through there, especially without a mouse. So when I hit check mark now, look at all the geometry. We're good. So now when I go over to the tool, I'm going to add another tool. Right click, create tool. It's a lollipop mill. That's what I normally use, but we have a 16th ball end mill. So we'll go ball end mill. We'll go to next. Does it say it's a 16th? Yep. So 0.0625, right? Everybody got that? And I'm going to leave it super long. It looks great. We're going to hit next. Tool 6. It basically runs 10,000 RPM. So I'm just going to run 10,000 right here, which is like a 163. I put you at 150 for surface speed. Just 10,000 is fine. And then it runs like 24 and 12 for the actual feed rates, like 24 and then a 12 plunge. That's pretty close to what you got there. You have 1 thou. That's fine. So when I hit finish, it's going to use that little ball end mill and barely scribe on the surface. We're going to go down 2 or 3 thou. If you have big geometry, maybe 4. So in cut parameters, what do I want to do with? I want to turn this to 2D. What do I want to do with my cutter comp though? Turn that off. I don't want depths of cut. You definitely don't want lead in and lead outs on your engraving. You'll have little arcs into everything and it looks funny. So you want linking though to be incremental. This is a secret. We have 2 different levels of geometry, don't we? So we have to basically run feed and retract. Basically, watch this, incremental. We're going to run 25 thou off the surface. Oh. But we want to clear at the start or the end of the operation the part by 0.84. Does that make sense? So it'll stay down in the engraving, so you're not watching it go all the way up and all the way down while engraving. If you don't get those settings, it's just going to take you a little longer. So I'm going to double check that my planes are good. My coolant is good. I press check mark. Do you see how it stays 25 thou off the surface until the end? That's important right there. Yes.
You turn off,
Yeah, because it's following. So what's happening here is we're basically got these little blue lines. If I zoom in, they're like 2 thou underneath the line. You see it right there? They are there. So we're following on the line. It's going to write all that. It looks really good. So now I go back to toolpaths. I click there. Yes. So I did incremental 25 thou for my retract and my clearance, and my clearance was 0.84 starting in the operation. So, did I do 0? So what you just said, I realized I probably made a mistake. So we got to go down. I don't think we went down. That's the problem. We didn't go down. We followed on the line, right? So you got to give it a negative value there, incremental. Thank you for clearing that up for me. So when I hit check mark now I zoom in and it's 2 thou below the line. You see that? So with all that, we're ready to simulate this thing. You're ready now, get it checked out by me and get approved and go run. But that's going to be, we'll do that next week. Well, you're going to be programming this week and we'll get you to that point. We'll talk about that tomorrow in lecture. But when I come over here, I go to verify. I can pretty much press cycle start there or the play button. Sitting there engraving. The engraving will look like this. That's fine. As long as it puts a little, it splays out along the lines, we're good to go. It's going to look really good. And then there's our part right there that we see. So at this point, when you're happy with it, and you think it's going to run good, you're going to come and find me. I just double check some toolpath. I look at the lines, make sure everything looks good. And then you're going to sign up for some machine time. We're going to talk about this on next week's class too. You can sign up for machine time to go work with the probes, set up with the probes, and then cut this part. My goal though is tomorrow is to do, we're going to do a capability analysis is in lecture. Then we're going to all run downstairs and we're going to just set this up with a probe real quick. We're going to have a big gang in the lab again. That's what we're going to do. We'll just set it up and show you how it works so you can get ready to do that for the next 2 weeks. And we're going to start CNC lathe programming the week after next. Sound good? So with that, I want to show you how to post code real quick. Josh, you had a question? You can run the fourth out app. Yeah. So now here on your logo, I'd probably do 2 or 3 because yours is pretty tight together. We'll look at it together too. So on this one, I'm going to pretty much hit G1. This is what you can't do on your own computer. You got to log into the classroom computers to hit G1. When I do that, I hit check mark. And I'm going to write CNC Project 1 in class. I'm going to go throw it in my spring 25. So we'll hit save there. I'll be able to grab that tomorrow whenever, know where it is. And now it brings up the code, right? So the code, one thing it does is it posts an A. We're just going to leave it there. That's kind of weird. That's great. Really? I know how to use keyboard in Windows. That's like something you should do. Give it a second. That's kind of weird. I can literally post it on. I'll post it on this computer right here. If not. That's funny though. Just give it a second. Spring 25. Something's wrong because it's like my computer's locked up and it's not doing so good. Give it a second. I'm just kind of curious. Those check mark. Override it. 146. Save. Normally it just pops right up too. I'm not really worried about those errors though. So it's either OneDrive or something because it's super slow just going through a file explorer. See that? So I put it in here, I thought. There it is. I don't know why it gave me all those errors. That's kind of weird. So one thing the machine does after you post it is it puts your file path in here. And if you have long file paths like me, it gives you an error. So I just delete those. Now you're going to need to do this right up here. If we had 335 for the last one, what would be a good name for this one? Yeah, 336. So you'll have your project 1 right there. We'll run 1, 4, 2, 5, 3, and 6 in that order, right? Shows you what it is. Fills it out, tells you the height offsets. And then we've got our T1 M6, G90, G54. Look at that. The only difference is the A0. Don't worry. It has a 4th axis option, so it's going to ignore it. We just don't have the 4th axis in there. We could delete the A0s or we could keep them. Fair enough. Then you got the G43, and it's pretty much just like you learned. So that's going to be our code. I'm going to go ahead and click off of that. So that's our video. So we'll stop sharing. We'll go, where is it here?